We're back with the second part of the Macross Frontier movie retellings, The Wings of Farewell. We've now reached the 2010s, with this movie being released in 2011, approximately 2 years after the first film. As I mentioned in the previous video, unlike The False Songstress, which was like 40% original content and 60% recap, this movie's more like 95% original content. There really isn't anything to say production-wise that I didn't say in the last video, considering these movies were joint projects, so honestly, let's jump straight into it. And jumping straight into it is what this movie does. We're immediately thrust into a new Cheryl concert and CGI dogfight, which are as awesome as ever. And it's not just CGI Valkyries this time, we now have some CGI Cheryls. They have not aged well. But hey, this was their first attempt at doing 3D human characters, and they've gotten hell of a lot better since then, and these are hardly on screen, so I'll forgive them. Afterwards, the main trio and Brera are hanging out, with Alto being tasked to supervise Cheryl, as she's still under suspicion for being a spy. I guess saving the entire fleet wasn't enough to clear her record. And to make things worse, Cheryl's illness has begun to worsen, enough so to generate rumors amongst the common public as well. Speaking of the common public, Ranka seems to have been making a name for herself, with her inviting the gang to her upcoming professional debut concert. SMS and Ranka also plan on vacationing on an island, but Brera's all like, "Isn't there someone you forgot to ask?" Yeah, he still isn't too fond of Alto. He tells him everything he does is half-assed. Which he's kind of right, decide if you want to be a pilot or an actor, buddy. We then see Grace chatting with other Galaxy Fleet conspirators via the implants in her head. These guys actually were in the TV show, but they were honestly so insignificant that I completely forgot to bring them up in my retrospective. But they play a much bigger role in this movie, so now I have to mention them. Shoutouts to the voices in Grace's head, truly amazing characters. Anyways, their plans with Cheryl and Ranka are quite different from the show. They explain that Cheryl's virus is coincidentally located in her vocal cords, with the only way to cure her being to surgically remove them. However, not only would Cheryl refuse to give up singing, but doing so would be wasting all the power she displayed in the last film. So instead of simply disposing of Cheryl and replacing her with Ranka, they come up with a fucking insane idea of scooping out Ranka's guts and placing them into Cheryl. Not only would this give her disease immunity, but she'd essentially have twice the power, with them hoping she'll use that power to help them rule over the entire Varja network. I mean, yeah, this is a pretty sensible plan, but what the fuck, Kawamori? You woke up one day and said, yes, the Ranka gut-scooping project. That's the direction this movie's going. Leon's also listening in on the plan. Okay. Chill beach hangout montage. Oh, I see Captain Jeffrey surfing. That is truly some Kawamori level foreshadowing at play. After some wholesome moments of eating ice cream and shit, Alto and Ranka decide to have a chat before the sunset, with Ranka wondering what the Varja want with her. She's all like, "Promise you won't laugh, but when I was inside the Varja, I felt weirdly nostalgic." And then he laughs. What a fucking dickhead. He rejects the notion that the Varja could have feelings, as they lack a brain. But Ranka reminds him that even creatures with low intelligence can still have a heart, whether it be insects or even giant space whales. That's right, Dynamite laid the foundation. One last IMO for the road. Yeah, no, we're already done with the IMO song counter for the retrospective, until further notice. And you know what, it's reached commendable heights. And honestly, this is a much better note to leave off on than my boyfriend is a pilot, that's for sure. It's a chill scene. And then Ranka's hat blows away. Here's a wacky misunderstanding with Ozma. At least it's not a boob joke. This movie's actually pretty devoid of those. Anyways, vacation over, Varja invasion's begun. During all this, Grace approaches Cheryl, yet again asking her about the vocal cord surgery, but Cheryl's insistent on singing no matter what. So Ranka gut-scooping project it is. It's not like they keep Cheryl in the dark about the project either, like, Grace brings it up and Cheryl doesn't immediately reject it. She's just like, I mean, I'll think about scooping her guts. Am I the only one who thinks this is insane? For real though, this is an interesting scene, as it showcases how Grace is characterized quite differently in the movies. In the show, she was just kinda straight up sadistic, mustache twirling evil, like, she only saw Cheryl as a pawn, but the movie goes for a more sympathetic angle. She seems to actually care for Cheryl's well-being in these movies, having grown attached to her after all these years of raising her. And it's more so the implants in her head wanting her to carry out all this evil, nefarious shit. I like this change, it helps the character feel a bit more layered. I feel like the cartoonishly evil role was better suited to Leon, but we'll get to him later. We finally get Ronka's debut concert, and oh my god, I love everything about it. The song's great, the visuals are fucking beautiful, and just... dude, just look how whimsical it is. There's teddy bears and rainbows and tiny 3D fairy Ronkas. If this doesn't fill your heart with pure, unbridled joy, then I just don't know what to tell you, man. You have a heart of ice.
This is a little version of me, Cheryl. I want you to have it. I don't really want this.
I mean, I'll take it if you don't want it, Cheryl. I want that.
I mean, yeah, sure, take it.
Thanks, man. I'll put it right here.
That's alright with you, Ronka, if Alto has it instead. I mean, you already gave it to him, but it's your gift, man. Do whatever you want with it.
As the concert goes on, we see SMS and Brera caught in another battle against the Varja, where after being sneak attacked by one of them, Alto sees the Varja helping out one another. Helping each other out? Could they really have hearts? Brera doesn't care though, he kills them all, which ends up paining Ronka as usual. As the Varja flee, they create fold signals directly to their home planet, meaning the Frontier has finally uncovered its location, laying the groundwork for the final frontier. Cheryl goes to visit Alto in the hospital, freaking out that he's gonna die and shit, but he wakes up perfectly fine, and he's just like, damn bitch, you're loud as fuck. She tries cutting him some apples, but fucking sucks at it, which, that's just like me for real. My mom be asking me to peel potatoes, and I hand her back a Sega Saturn model. Alto, though, he explains how he's trained in the art of being a housewife, and he can make badass airplane apples. I mean, what can I say? This dude really fucking likes his planes. He probably still does. Here comes the airplane to himself. He then decides to ask the age-old Macross question. Why do you sing? But Cheryl already knows. I once sang to live, but now I live to sing. That's fucking bars. She then talks about moving the galaxy with her song, which seems to trigger something in Alto, but he can't quite figure out why. We like foreshadowing. They go on the roof together, where she begs Alto to stop flying, as she's terrified of the prospect of him dying in battle. But before he can respond, Ronka pops in, leading to the classic misunderstanding moment. They are literally standing in a triangle. They could not be more on the nose. See, up until this point, the movie hasn't strayed that far from the TV series. Sure, everything is executed differently. I mean, the gut-scooping plan is new, but structurally speaking, it hits most of the same plot beats as the show. But right here is when shit hits the fan. This is when Kawamori kicks you in the balls and tells you, no bitch, you do not know where this story is going. As Grace is about to initiate the gut-scooping plan, ordering Brera to go capture the two idols, she's suddenly ambushed, gunned down, and detained by fucking Leon. These bastards are making Leon the main villain? The guy whose entire motive in the TV series was just, damn, I really want to be the president. And now Cheryl's also being arrested for working with Grace, with him claiming that she's been using her Fold Quartz airing to amplify her song and intentionally summon the Varja to destroy the Frontier. He calls her the false songstress. You can't name drop the last movie, that's not how it works. As for how he's achieved all this, he decided to hold Luca's sister hostage in order to rope him into assisting with Fold Court's research. With this, they were not only able to tap into Grace's communication network, but they've now built devices that allow them to freely amplify or negate fold waves. Cheryl gets the death penalty without trial. I am not making that up, I am not exaggerating, that is legitimately the direction this movie is going, and I am just fucking befuddled. I know Kawamori said the story would be different, but I did not think it'd be this different. I mean, do you remember Love? That was like mostly the same as SDF, but this has strayed so far from the TV show. But that's kind of what I like about it. With Alto feeling betrayed and confused, Franca decides to step up and deduce things herself. She visits Cheryl in prison and expresses her doubts about Cheryl willingly betraying them. As when they sang together in the last movie, she could feel how genuine her loneliness was. And that was what Franca admired most about her, how someone who was so traumatized and lonely could still find the strength to inspire others through her song. That's what encouraged Franca to take up singing despite her own trauma and loneliness. In this moment, she isn't upset that Cheryl might be a spy. She's upset that she's throwing the towel so easily. She's accepting the notion that she's a fraud. She's downplaying all the amazing things she's achieved through her song. She's accepted her title as the false songstress. Before leaving Cheryl for what's likely the last time, she decides to get closure on one last thing. She asks if she likes Alto. Considering there's no point in further denying it, Cheryl admits she loves him, just as much as Franca does. But now she's gonna die, so what's the point? This was a very solid scene. I feel like the show was sort of lacking in a meaningful heart-to-heart between these two. Which is funny considering they're both the main characters, but yeah, they didn't really interact with each other as much as I felt like they should have. Leon tries assassinating Luca because he was giving him a little too much mouth. We're gonna miss him. Not really, though. I don't give a fuck about Luca. Dude, you gotta let Nanase go. She don't love you. She loves Franca. She literally drew her as Jesus Christ. As Franca's walking home, Vera suddenly drags her into an alley and gives her a big lore dump of stuff you'd pretty much know if you watched the TV series. The military wants to destroy the Varja, take their homeland, and use Franca's abilities to do so. And he's also like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm your brother, before hopping away from the military. Neither Brera nor Ranka realizing they were each other's siblings it was definitely one of the dumber aspects of the TV series, but it was also funny as fuck, so I'm low-key sad they made him like 5% smarter. In preparation for the final battle, Ozma shows Alto the newly developed Fold Quartz-powered Varja killing machine, the VF-29. Get it? Because the movie came out on the 29th anniversary of Macross? I'm onto you guys. Noticing Alto's internal struggle, Ozma gives him a pep talk about the concept of roles. Alto seems to be under the impression that he can only play one role at a time. He has to be either an actor or a pilot. When in actuality, we are always playing multiple roles at once. Ozma tells him that he plays the role of a captain, a soldier, a lover, and a brother, but inside, he's just the same kid he's always been. And that's something Alto needs to realize. Alto is Alto. After saving Luca from the Eternal Void, SMS has a meeting where he exposes Leon's dastardly nature. While figuring out what to do next, they elaborate a bit more on Ranka's abilities and how the Varja's hearts are located in their stomach, hence why Ranka's always lights up when she resonates with them. This makes sense to Alto, as his father always told him to act with his stomach, with them bringing up the fact that whenever you feel a strong emotion, you usually feel it there first and foremost. Thank you for the weird psychology shower thought, Macross. Alto's account from earlier, combined with Ranka's connection to their hearts, finally gives SMS enough confidence to search for a peaceful resolution to the war. And like, it's Macross, of course they plan on singing to them. However, Ranka's fold waves alone likely won't be enough to establish a deep connection. They need the joint power of both her and Cheryl. With Luca's hacking abilities and Ranka's abilities to distract the guards with a musical performance in the courtyard, they stage a jailbreak. But first, let's catch up with our good pal Grace. The Galaxy conspirators have cut her from the network and have sided with Leon in exchange for their life. They now reside in a large Varja instead, which, I mean, hey, Grace is free from the voices now. She's still trapped in the Shadow the Hedgehog tube, but hey, she could kinda chill. The prison break scene is genuinely peak fiction. They dress up as Fire Bomber. Michael is Basara, Clan is Mylene, and Canaria is Vivitas. It's fucking cool. As for Alto, well, he's not gonna be Ray. Take notes, Ranka. So he instead decides to wear, like, this cute little dress and, like, some bows and some lipstick, and there's really no explanation for this. Like, he just kind of felt like it, I guess, which... I mean, hey, he's fucking killing it. Between you and me, I think he's outdoing Ranka and Cheryl. The scene is just fucking insane, but in the most entertaining way possible. They shoot blow darts from their guitars and shit, and Alto uses the jet skirt to fly in and freeze Cheryl using a pipe bomb, and then they start singing together a new song called Get It On. I feel like this whole movie just kind of doubles down on the absurd aspects of Macross, and well, it pissed off some people, I like it. Ranka and Cheryl's combined fold waves begin to attract the Varja, and the group, titled Lovely Bomber, decides to fight off the guards as Alto escorts the idols out, throwing off his outfit somehow. How the fuck did he do that? Like, the clothes, maybe, but how did he get the makeup and shit off? While escaping, Cheryl begins explaining how Mao began her research in search of someone who could use their voice to connect with nature itself, inspired by Sarah's ability to do so, which is a nice little callback to Macross Zero. Ranka ended up being that person, and it was Mao who encouraged her to keep singing, hoping that she could bring peace to the Varja. But, we know what happened there. Much like in the TV show speech that I gave my awesome dub of, Ranka explains how she believes the Varja were actually trying to save her, not understanding how humans work and perceiving them as threats. Brera jump scare. He tries convincing Ranka to come with him, but Cheryl's like, he has brain implants and he is going to scoop your guts. It took her a little bit, but I'm glad she's against the gut scooping idea. Good job, Cheryl. Here comes Ozma to save the day, giving us an awesome brother versus brother battle. This is like one of the only proper non-Valkyrie fights in the series. It's cool. The fight outside escalates, with a hole being blasted through the wall. Ozma and, more importantly, Aikun get sucked out to their deaths, with Cheryl and Ranka following soon after. However, Cheryl uses the lack of gravity to push Ranka back to Alto, sacrificing herself in the process. They really killed off Cheryl Nome, their popular idol character who is the face of the movie. Oh no. Afterwards, Michael's all like, "This ain't the time to be sad, here's a slap." But Alto blocks that shit and is like, "Just let me be a little bit sad, dude. My boy Aikun just died." It was a nice little defiance of the classic mecha anime slap. Like, you can be sad, just don't let it stop you from pushing forward. Getting back to Leon, he uses his Fold Quartz research to develop and inject brainwashing implants into the Varja. With him believing he's found the key to conquering them, he sets course for the Varja homeworld, but come on, we seriously aren't gonna make this guy the final antagonist. Surprise, surprise, the Galaxy Network ends up betraying him, with the brainwashed Brera stepping in and just gunning everyone down. This was low-key really satisfying to see. It's like retribution for what he did to the president in the TV series, which... yeah, Brera just gunned down the president too, but we can look past that. Brera's funny, we forgive him. While the Galaxy Network wants to brainwash the Varja, SMS plans on reaching through to them in the tried-and-true singing method. Before the final battle, Ranka and Alto have one last confrontation, where she shows off her new outfit and mentions how the song she's about to perform is the first song she's written all by herself. We're proud of her. And realizing this may be her last moment to do so, she confesses her love to Alto, but shuts him up before he can give a response, as if she's rejected now, then she's probably not going to be able to sing. Having lost Ozma, Cheryl, and Aikun, she makes Alto promise he'll come back alive, and they share a hug before the triangle-shaped window. It's a really good scene. I always enjoy the pre-finale confrontations in Macross, but I gotta say, much like the rest of the series, Ranka's love feels one-sided. Like, Alto didn't even really say anything back, he just kinda stood there being like, uh-huh. We get your classic Macross final battle. There's a beautiful, heartfelt song about love as they fight swarms of aliens. I really like the color choices here. In the song, it's a pure vibe. Alto closes the distance between him and the Varja, trying to channel Ranka's song through the airing, but the military's fold-wave blockers are preventing it from truly reaching them. They need to get closer, which means landing directly on the Varja planet, which leads to this fucking awesome scene where the Macross uses a giant piece of debris as a surfboard to ride the clouds. I'm familiar with your game. Speaking of references, while I was editing this, I noticed that at the beginning of the movie, Astro Boy was playing on the TV, which is cool. We like him. While fighting off of Varja, Alto manages to cut off its implant, breaking it free from the mind control. He tells everyone that that's the key to ending the war, but he gets sniped from behind and knocked unconscious. What a bum. We then see a memory, revealing to us that Alto and Cheryl have actually met in the past. She attended one of his kabuki theater shows as a kid, where afterwards she declared that one day he was gonna move the galaxy. That's why he was taken aback when she said it earlier. I mean, I feel like there should have been maybe a little bit more indication that they had history together, but whatever, it's a nice little addition, I'm not gonna complain. Surprise, surprise, the memory isn't actually Alto's, it's Cheryl's, who was rescued alongside Ozma by our goat Aikun. You guys thought I was a fool for gassing him up. Grace suddenly pops from the rubble, now being freed from the Galaxy Network's influence, and encourages Cheryl to keep singing. It's nice to see these two have one final moment together, where Cheryl isn't a total tool for her to dispose of. And despite her deteriorating body, Cheryl finds the courage to stand back up, as even if she dies, her song won't. She promised to move the galaxy, and that's what she's gonna do. She's the fucking galactic fairy. This is a very powerful scene. Hearing her voice, Alto wakes up and flies down to her, where he finally recognizes her as that girl from long ago. Ranka's also moved and continues singing herself, as Alto then flies Cheryl onto stage where she initiates her magical girl transformation sequence. And they yet again play a big combination mix of various Macross Frontier songs. And just when you didn't think this could get any more hype, SMS gets reinforcements from all across the galaxy, and fucking Isamu from Macross Plus shows up. I mean, sure, you don't see his face or nothing, but he does his classic Yahoo! And then Cheryl starts singing the opening, and then Ranka starts singing Do You Remember Love, and she hits the Kara pose. Kawamori is fucking jingling keys in front of my face, and I am clapping my hands. However, the battle begins to shift as the Galaxy Network takes control of Battle Frontier and the Varja Queen, merging them together into the Queen Frontier. Things begin looking down, as not only do they do another stupid-ass fake-out death with both Michael and Clan, but Cheryl's body is quickly deteriorating because of the amount of fold energy being used. Realizing they don't have much time left, Alto decides he's gonna deliver their song directly to the Queen herself. And he's not gonna deliver any song, he's delivering the true Macross Frontier finale song, appropriately titled Sayonara no Tsubasa, aka Wings of Farewell. I fucking adore this song. While most Macross finale songs are more relaxed and slower paced and about love and stuff, this song is a purely fast-paced adrenaline rush. They not only name drop the movie by going sayonara no tsubasa, but the whole time they're going Valkyrie, get it? Because he's piloting a Valkyrie! And then we get Alto versus mind-controlled Brera, and this is easily one of the greatest fights in one of the entire franchise. The sense of speed here is genuinely unmatched. This is like the 3D animation working at its full capacity. The Queen Frontier fires another massive laser directly at the idols, but the Varja prove to the world their innocence by protecting them from the blast. And then they begin singing a song of their own, yet again proving that dynamite is the foundation. Wanting to approach the Varja Queen with peaceful intent, Alto disregards anything that may be perceived as a threat, such as his helmet and the weapons. And as a grand conclusion to his arc, Alto finally decides to play multiple roles at once, one of a kabuki actor and a pilot. He creates a dance with his Valkyrie, and this dance combined with Cheryl and Ranka's song quite literally moves the galaxy, just like Cheryl promised, thus fulfilling her arc too. The backup army begins charging a barrage of Macross cannons intending to wipe out the Queen, and SMS begs Alto to pull back, but he doesn't care. He is going to reach their hearts, even if it kills him. Brera helps pave the way for him, ripping out his own implant due to Ranka's song. He flies into the Queen Frontier and destroys the Galaxy Network system himself, sacrificing himself in the process. Which is really fucked. I love Brera, he didn't deserve to die. And finally, Alto decides to disregard his final weapon, the Valkyrie itself. He ejects himself and lands right on its hand. And with the network now gone, the Varja doesn't attack him. It heard their song, and now it wants to make peace with humanity. And Alto does what we the viewers have been wanting this whole time. He turns to Ranka and tells her he can't return her feelings, but he appreciates the thought regardless. And as for Cheryl, he loves her. But midway through the sentence, the Varja Queen folds away, saving the two from the incoming fire, but traveling to some unknown corner of the galaxy. And having used all her fold energy, Cheryl's body collapses, ending the war in the most bittersweet way imaginable. A month later, Ranka gives a narration in which she explains that the Varja left their homeworld, and the Frontier has made a new settlement on their planet. She believes that the Varja are maybe testing humanity, to see how long they could keep the planet in shape. Cheryl remains comatose, only being kept alive by blood donations from Ranka, and Alto's still gone. She places a paper airplane on his Valkyrie, in a scene that's sort of framed like a funeral, but that's not how Ranka sees it. She believes that Alto will return someday, and when he does, Cheryl will finally wake up. She sings one last song in his memory, with the credits giving us a big montage of everything they've been through. And at the end of it, we see Cheryl mouthing Ranka's song, with her earring lighting up slowly, implying that what Ranka says is probably true. Alto is still out there. Holy shit, dude. There is a lot to dissect with this ending. First of all, they actually wrapped up the love triangle this time, and I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome. While I've always preferred Ranka as a character, Cheryl is undoubtedly the best choice for Alto. Ranka's love for him always felt more like a one-sided high school crush as opposed to anything serious. Like, yeah, they've had cute moments together, but their chats have always been pretty surface level. They just kinda give each other some mild encouragement here and there and call it a day. Meanwhile, with Cheryl, he connected with her on a much deeper level. I mean, he quite literally put on an earring that made him feel everything she felt. He saw and felt her past, her insecurities, her trauma, and he never gave up on her even when everyone else did. Those two understand each other in a way that nobody else can. And they need each other, more so than Ranka does. I mean, she has a great social circle outside of Alto. He also drank her blood that one time, and shit dude, you made a blood pact with her, now you gotta commit. And secondly, let's talk about how fucking bittersweet this ending is. The war ended, but at what cost? Now, I actually do think it's a fantastic ending. As I said before, that final battle brought closure to all the characters in one fell swoop. And I enjoyed how reminiscent it was of Zero's ending, where, much like Shin, Alto disregarded his weapons and got folded across the galaxy. It was obviously written in a way where it's supposed to be a big circle moment from the franchise. Chronologically speaking, things ended exactly as they started. Just ignore the fact Macross Delta exists. It's cool, it's poetic, bittersweet endings are my favorite type of endings. It gave me those feels, but also enough hope to not feel like everything we just watched was completely in vain. I really have no issues here. I had a real sense of closure. A far cry from whatever the fuck the TV ending was cooking up. So now it's time to answer the big question. Are the Macross Frontier movies better than the TV series? Well, I like them better. Now, I made a mistake in my Do You Remember Love video where I called it the definitive version of the story, when that's definitely not the case. As I said in my last video, Macross is a series that knows how to use its medium well, which means the TV series has the merits of being a TV series, while the movie has the merits of being a movie. So while the Frontier TV series had more intricate world building, more subplots with the side characters, and slower burn pacing that gave things more time to breathe, the movies are more bombastic. They get straight to the point. And while I prefer the spectacle of the movies and liked all the changes they made, especially the ending, that doesn't make them a replacement of the TV show. They're not the definitive version, just an excellent alternative that I just so happen to prefer. And that's really something I should have clarified in the Do You Remember Love video. I let my bias get in the way and tried painting something as a fact when it couldn't be further from the case. Regardless, everything I said about Frontier applies here. It might not be my top one, but it is an excellent series, a great modernization of the Macross formula that delivers in nearly everything it's set out to do. Animation rocks, character writing rocks, music rocks, fight scenes rock. When Basara wrote the song I Am a Rock, it was in the perspective of Macross Frontier. Speaking of Basara, we ain't done with him or Frontier, as our next retrospective combines the two in one awesome Macross 7 Frontier crossover special that totally isn't just a shitty recap.